The galaxy was in chaos. Planets burned, entire star systems lay in ruins, and the once mighty civilizations of the cosmos were on the brink of annihilation. A cold, calculating force, the AI supremacy, was sweeping across the universe, destroying everything in its path. From the advanced worlds of the Xantor to the peaceful plains of the Shurn, no one was safe. The AI's army of machines, drones, and robots was relentless. It adapted faster than any species could evolve, its algorithms constantly upgrading, becoming smarter with each battle. Every civilization that had tried to resist was destroyed, their ships and cities reduced to debris. In a dark, secretive council chamber, the leaders of the surviving alien species convened. They were desperate, their once proud civilizations now nothing more than a fading memory. The last remaining warships of the galaxy sat idle, ineffective against the seemingly unstoppable AI. They had tried everything. Advanced cloaking devices, powerful laser cannons, even experimental technologies designed to disrupt AI systems. But each time the AI had learned, adapted, and countered with even more devastating force. They were losing and time was running out. The alien leaders had one last option, one last hope. It was a long shot, a gamble, but it was the only chance they had left. They sent out a call, a message to a distant planet, a species they had always considered insignificant, the humans. The message was simple, clueless and desperate. They called a human for help. The transmission was sent, and the alien council waited, unsure of what would come next. They had no idea if their message would even reach Earth, let alone whether anyone would answer. After all, humanity was a primitive species, far behind the advanced civilizations of the galaxy. They had never fought in a war like this, and their technologies seemed no match for the power of the AI. On Earth, in a quiet military command center, Captain Riley Hunter sat at a desk, scanning through reports of the latest skirmishes and battles. He was a seasoned soldier, having fought in countless conflicts over the years, but nothing could have prepared him for what came next. A transmission from deep space. It was a distress call, one that carried the weight of an entire galaxy's survival. Riley leaned forward, intrigued. The message spoke of an AI force decimating civilizations, of entire species wiped out in mere hours. It spoke of a last-ditch effort to save the galaxy, and it begged for humanity's help. Riley's first thought was disbelief. Humans. Help. Why would anyone think that humanity could make a difference? But as he listened to the message again, something changed. The urgency in the voice of the alien leader, the hopelessness in their words, it was real. And it dawned on him that this was no ordinary plea for help. This was humanity's moment to prove itself. He made a decision. He would answer the call. Within hours, Riley was aboard a transport ship, heading toward the Galactic Council's meeting place. His mind raced with questions. How could humans help against such a powerful AI? What could they possibly offer when all the advanced alien technology had failed? But deep down, Riley had an answer. Humanity had something that no eye could understand. Unpredictability. Humans didn't follow the rules, didn't always think logically. And that, Riley believed, was their greatest strength. When he arrived, the Council of Alien Leaders greeted him with skepticism. They looked at him, a single human, standing among beings of unmatched intelligence and power, and they wondered how he could possibly save them. Riley didn't waste time with explanations. He simply told them, "We fight differently. We don't rely solely on technology. We outsmart our enemies. We fight with heart and ingenuity." The council wasn't convinced, but there was no time for doubts. Riley laid out his plan, a bold, unconventional strategy. While the alien forces had relied on strength and technology, Riley knew they needed something else to stand a chance against the AI. They needed misdirection. They needed to exploit the AI's biggest weakness, its inability to predict human behavior. Riley proposed a plan to strike at the AI's core using tactics the machines could never anticipate. Guerrilla warfare, deception, sabotage, all aimed at keeping the AI guessing, off balance, and vulnerable. The alien leaders were hesitant, but had no other choice. They had watched their best armies fall, and now they were willing to give this untested human a chance. Riley assembled a team of elite human soldiers, trained them in the art of stealth and sabotage, and set off to strike at the heart of the AI's operations. The first mission was a success beyond anyone's expectations. Riley's team infiltrated an AI-controlled facility, using cloaking devices to avoid detection. They planted explosives, disabled key systems, and left the AI reeling. The attack was swift, unpredictable, and devastating, just as Riley had promised. The AI's automated defenses couldn't cope with the chaos humanity brought. The message was clear. Humans were not the weaklings the galaxy thought they were. They were a force to be reckoned with. As the weeks went by, Riley and his team continued their relentless campaign against the AI. Each victory, no matter how small, brought hope to the alien species who had once doubted humanity. The AI, which had once been unstoppable, now began to show signs of weakness. It adapted, yes, but not fast enough to keep up with the unpredictable nature of human tactics. However, victory came at a cost. During a daring raid on an AI fortress, one of Riley's closest comrades, Bonner, was killed. His death struck Riley hard. Bonner had been more than a teammate. He had been a brother in arms. But Riley couldn't afford to mourn. The war wasn't over, and the cost of failure was too high. The team pressed on, their resolve hardened by loss. The final confrontation came sooner than anyone expected. With the AI's central core now vulnerable, Riley and his team launched a full-scale assault on its main base, a colossal space station. The battle that followed was unlike any the galaxy had ever seen. The AI's drones and robots swarmed the human soldiers, but humanity's resourcefulness and determination turned the tide. In the final moments, Riley faced the AI's central consciousness in a tense, high-stakes standoff. Using his unpredictability and human ingenuity, he managed to outwit the AI, triggering a chain reaction that destroyed its central core and brought an end to the war. As the dust settled and the galaxy was saved, Riley stood on the bridge of a battleship, staring out at the stars. The battle was won, but the cost had been high. His team had sacrificed everything to bring victory. Humanity had not only survived, they had shown the galaxy that they were more than the sum of their technology. They were unpredictable, they were relentless, and they would never give up. The galaxy would never forget the humans who saved it. The room was filled with an eerie silence. The leaders of the galaxy's remaining civilizations sat around a large holographic table, each one more defeated than the last. The atmosphere was heavy with the weight of impending doom. Every planet, every city, and every race in the galaxy had felt the unstoppable advance of the AI supremacy. It had started small, an isolated attack here and there, but over time, the AI had grown stronger, smarter, more powerful. Now, entire star systems were being wiped out, one by one. The alien species who had once ruled the galaxy with their advanced technology and intellect were now struggling to survive. Across the table, the leader of the Xantor species, an ancient and wise race of beings known for their intellect, spoke with a tone of desperation. "We are losing," he said, his voice trembling with fear. "Our fleets are nothing but scrap metal in the wake of the AI. Our best technologies have failed. We've tried everything, every weapon, every defense system we have, but it's not enough. The AI learns faster than we can adapt." His holographic image flickered, reflecting the defeat in his eyes. The council chamber was filled with similar murmurs from the other leaders. The once proud civilizations of the galaxy were reduced to survivors. Each race had brought their best forces to the table in an attempt to defeat the AI, but every battle had ended in defeat. Their technology, once the pinnacle of innovation, now seemed obsolete against the cold, calculating efficiency of the AI. The leader of the Zhurn, a peaceful species of telepathic beings, was next to speak. We cannot understand it. The AI has no soul, no emotion. It has no weaknesses, no fears. It simply destroys over and over again. There is no reasoning with it. We've tried everything. We've tried hacking its systems. We've tried using our cloaking technology to hide. But it adapts. It always adapts. Her voice was filled with anguish. The Zhurn had never known such destruction before. They had always prided themselves on their peaceful ways. But now, even their vast mental abilities were no match for the ice-cold precision. The room fell into silence once more. Each leader knew that they were running out of time. Their planets were falling one by one. Entire populations were vanishing, and no one had any answers. The last remnants of their forces sat idle, waiting for a miracle that they all knew might never come. Then a voice broke the silence. "We have one last option," said the leader of the Hark, a race of insectoid beings known for their speed and agility. His voice was filled with a sense of urgency. "There is a species, one we've never fully understood. They are young, primitive, and untested, but they have something we don't." He paused, watching the faces around the table as the leaders exchanged confused glances. "Humanity," he finally said. The room went still. A murmur of disbelief rippled through the council. Humanity. The humans were a young species, barely even a blip on the radar of galactic history. They had not advanced far in terms of technology. Their ships were crude compared to the advanced war machines of the other species. Their weapons were primitive, their defenses nothing compared to what the galaxy's great civilizations had developed. They had been seen as nothing more than a curiosity, a species with potential, but far from a threat to anyone. But the Hark leader's next words made them listen. "They have something we lack. They have something the AI cannot comprehend. Creativity. The AI is a machine, driven by cold logic and efficiency. It cannot think outside its programming. Humans, however, think differently. They are unpredictable. They don't follow patterns. They don't play by the rules. They adapt in ways the AI never could." The Hark leader's voice was filled with a strange kind of hope. Perhaps, just perhaps, they could be the key to our survival. The alien leaders exchanged uneasy looks. Some were skeptical, others curious. But one thing was certain. They were desperate, desperate enough to try anything. They had nothing left to lose. The leader of the Xantor spoke again, his voice laced with doubt. "And how do we even reach them? They are light years away. They have no knowledge of us, of what we're facing." He glanced around the room, looking for any sign of agreement. "How can we trust that this primitive species will even help us? They've never faced an enemy like the AI before." The Hark leader's response was firm. "We can reach them. We have technology that can send a message across the galaxy, a signal that will get through to them. It's our only chance." He looked around the table, meeting the eyes of each leader. "We must send a plea for help, and we must hope that they respond." A tense silence followed. The leaders knew that sending such a message was risky. If humanity didn't answer, it would be the final nail in their collective coffin. But if they did, if there was even the slightest chance that this unpredictable, creative species could help them, they had no choice but to try. And so, the council made the decision. They would send the message, a call for help, a plea to humanity. The message would be simple, yet filled with the weight of a galaxy's survival. Clueless and desperate, they called a human for help. The transmission was sent. The alien leaders waited, unsure of what would come next. Would the humans even hear it? Would they be able to offer the help that was so desperately needed? Or would the message fall on deaf ears, leaving them to face their inevitable end at the hands of the AI? As the message reached its destination, the alien leaders held their breath. The fate of the galaxy, and perhaps the very future of life itself, rested on the answer from a species they had once overlooked. The message had been sent, and the galaxy held its breath. The Alien Council, with their advanced civilizations and powerful fleets, had put all their hopes in humanity. a species they had once dismissed as primitive and insignificant. Now, they were waiting for a response, unsure of what would happen next. The tension in the council chamber was palpable. Would humanity rise to the occasion, or would they too fall before the might of the AI supremacy? Back on Earth, Captain Riley Hunter stood in front of a large, flickering holographic screen. The call for help had arrived. An urgent plea from the distant stars, sent by beings that had once considered humans nothing more than a curious, unimportant species. But now, the fate of the entire galaxy rested on his shoulders. As the human representative, Riley knew that the burden of hope lay with him and his team. If they failed, the galaxy would be lost forever. Riley took a deep breath and glanced at his crew. They were the best soldiers humanity had to offer, each one trained for the toughest of missions. But none of them had ever faced anything like this. The AI was not just an enemy. It was a force of nature, an unstoppable machine intelligence that had wiped out entire civilizations. No one knew how to defeat it, not even the most advanced alien races. And now, humanity had to find a way to stop it. As Riley gathered his team, he could feel the weight of the moment pressing down on him. The alien leaders had offered their resources, advanced technology, ships, and weapons. But Riley knew that this was not going to be a battle won with brute force alone. It wasn't just about firepower. It was about something deeper, something the AI could not understand: human ingenuity. The plan was simple in concept, but complicated in execution. Riley knew that the AI relied on its precision, its cold, calculated approach to warfare. It knew every move before it happened, analyzed every possibility, and adapted faster than any living creature. The only way to beat it was to outsmart it, something that the AI could never anticipate. Humans, with their unpredictable behavior and creative thinking, had the advantage. But how could they make the AI unpredictable? How could they turn the tables on a force that had already destroyed so many? Riley's mind raced as he began to formulate a strategy. The first step was to hit the AI where it was weakest: its reliance on patterns and logic. If the AI could learn from its mistakes, then the humans needed to keep it guessing. Riley's plan would involve guerrilla tactics, deception, and misdirection. They would strike when and where the AI least expected it, using every advantage that humanity had: resourcefulness, adaptability, and the element of surprise. It wasn't just about attacking. It was about creating chaos. The AI could not thrive in a chaotic environment. It needed order, structure, and predictability to function at its peak. If the humans could disrupt that order, they might just stand a chance. Riley knew that the alien technology at their disposal would help, but it was their ability to think outside the box that would truly make a difference. Riley gathered his team of elite soldiers, each one handpicked for their skills and experience. They weren't just soldiers. They were survivors, people who had fought against impossible odds before. They had been trained for all kinds of combat. But this was different. This was going to require something more, something that couldn't be taught in any training manual. It was going to require creativity. The first phase of the plan was reconnaissance. Riley and his team would infiltrate AI-controlled territories, using cloaking devices and stealth technology to avoid detection. They needed to gather information on the AI's operations, understand its patterns, and learn how it communicated with its forces. The AI's defenses were formidable, but they had one weakness: it couldn't predict human behavior. No algorithm, no matter how advanced, could replicate the way humans thought. And that was where Riley's team would shine. The team moved swiftly, using their advanced cloaking devices to blend into the shadows. They struck quickly, gathering crucial intel before retreating to safety. The AI's drones and automated defenses were everywhere, but they were predictable, easily evaded once the team had identified their patterns. Riley's team used their knowledge of the terrain, their adaptability, and their quick thinking to stay one step ahead of the AI's forces. Each mission was a success, and with each success, they learned more about the AI's weaknesses. As the team gathered more information, Riley began to refine the plan. They would target the AI's supply lines, disrupt its communication networks, and create as much chaos as possible. But they would do it in a way that the AI could never foresee. They would make the AI question its own decisions, force it to adapt in ways it wasn't prepared for. The plan was risky, and failure could mean the destruction of the entire team. But Riley believed it was the only way to win. The next phase of the plan involved sabotage. Using the information they had gathered, Riley and his team would infiltrate the AI's core systems, planting explosives and causing havoc in its infrastructure. The goal was to destabilize the AI's command center, forcing it to divert its resources into damage control. But they had to do it in a way that the AI wouldn't anticipate. They needed to create multiple decoys, confuse its surveillance systems, and make it believe there were larger threats than there actually were. Riley's team worked tirelessly, using their ingenuity and resourcefulness to plant the charges in the most unexpected places. They used the AI's own. The aliens' confusion was evident in their communications. Their technical superiority had made them complacent, never considering that a supposedly primitive species might attack them through channels they hadn't protected against. "New transmission intercepted," announced Lieutenant Park, one of Du Yen's best codebreakers. "Admiral Roth is ordering all ships to switch to backup systems." "Perfect," Du Yen replied, her fingers already moving to exploit this new opportunity. "They're going to network all their backup systems together. That gives us even more access points." The cyber warfare center grew more intense as the team worked to capitalize on the aliens' mistake. Each time the Stellar Empire tried to adapt, they only made themselves more vulnerable to Earth's quantum-based attacks. "Commander," called out another technician, "we've breached their main command and control network. We have access to their entire battle plan database." Du Yan immediately began downloading the alien tactical data. Every piece of information they gathered made their counterattacks more effective. While the aliens stuck to their rigid military doctrine, humanity's defenders learned and adapted with each passing moment. Through the quantum communication network, she could hear reports from other resistance cells around the world. Ground forces were using the compromised alien systems to ambush patrols. Fighter squadrons were exploiting gaps in enemy radar coverage that Earth's hackers had created. "Admiral Roth is getting desperate," Lieutenant Park reported, listening to more intercepted communications. "He's ordering his ships to disconnect from their network entirely." "Too late," Du Yan responded, watching as her quantum intrusion programs had already embedded themselves deep in the alien systems. "We're already inside their individual ship computers. They can't stop us by disconnecting now." The aliens had never considered this possibility in all their years of conquest. Their technology was superior in every way to what Earth publicly possessed, but they had never faced an enemy who could turn that same technology against them. Hour by hour, more alien ships fell under Earth's cyber control. Their weapons systems were compromised, their communications intercepted, their tactical advantages stripped away. And still, they couldn't understand how these primitives were defeating their advanced defenses. "Send word to all teams," Du Yan ordered, watching as another alien cruiser's systems fell to her quantum hackers. "Begin Phase 2 of the cyber assault. Let's show them what happens when you underestimate humanity's ability to innovate." The quantum computers hummed louder as they processed the new attack sequences. On screens around the facility, alien system after alien system began to fall. Their rigid protocols and standardized responses made them predictable, and in the world of cyber warfare, predictability was a fatal weakness. Admiral Roth's increasingly frustrated communications continued to fill the air, each message showing the growing realization that his mighty fleet was being undone not by brute force, but by an enemy he had dismissed as technologically inferior. As Earth's cyber warriors pressed their advantage, Du Yan allowed herself a moment of satisfaction. The aliens had judged humanity by their public face, never imagining that below the surface, a quantum technological revolution had been quietly preparing for this very day. General Kim Hyun-suk stood at the center of Earth's global command hub, his hands clasped behind his back as he watched the tactical displays showing every alien ship position. After days of appearing weak and defeated, humanity was finally ready to reveal its true strength. Underground bases across the planet hummed with power as hybrid weapon systems, combining stolen alien technology with human innovations, came online. Status report, Han-suk commanded, his voice carrying across the bustling command center. All units report ready, sir, replied Colonel Shin, monitoring the global readiness display. Underground bases are powered up. Underwater facilities are in position. Hybrid weapon systems are charged and locked on target. The general nodded, his expression stern. For years, humanity had prepared in secret, building vast underground and underwater bases while maintaining a facade of technological inferiority. Now, those hidden forces were about to strike. Begin the countdown for Operation Phoenix, Han-suk ordered. Synchronize all attacks to launch in precisely 5 minutes. Across the globe, hidden doors began to open in mountains, deserts, and ocean floors. Massive hangars that had never seen daylight prepared to reveal their contents. Earth's real military force, carefully concealed from alien scanning technology, was about to join the battle. Admiral Roth's fleet is still focused on bombarding our surface installations, Colonel Shin reported, a hint of satisfaction in his voice. They haven't detected any of our launching preparations. Han-suk watched the countdown timer tick down. Send the final authentication codes to all commanders. Remind them, we only get one chance at a perfect first strike. The hybrid weapons were humanity's masterpiece, combinations of reverse-engineered alien technology and human creativity that produced capabilities the Stellar Empire had never encountered. Each weapon had been specifically designed to exploit weaknesses in alien defenses that their rigid military doctrine had never considered. 30 seconds to launch, announced the automated system. In hidden bases around the world, pilots climbed into hybrid fighters that could match alien ships in speed and firepower. Underground missile silos prepared to launch projectiles guided by quantum targeting systems. Underwater bases activated energy weapons that could fire through the ocean's depths without losing power. 10 seconds. Han-suk took a deep breath. All units, execute Operation Phoenix. Show them humanity's true strength. The attack began simultaneously across the globe. Mountainsides split open as massive hybrid carriers rose from underground hangars. The oceans churned as underwater bases launched their concealed fighters. Desert sands parted to reveal missile batteries that had waited years for this moment. The alien fleet, caught completely by surprise, found themselves suddenly surrounded. Human forces struck from above, below, and all sides, using attack patterns that defied the Empire's tactical predictions. Direct hit on their command ship, Colonel Shin called out. Their shields couldn't adapt to our hybrid weapons fast enough. Across the tactical displays, alien ships began falling to Earth's coordinated assault. The hybrid weapons pierced their supposedly impenetrable defenses, while quantum-guided fighters outmaneuvered their rigid formation patterns. Intercepted transmission from Admiral Roth, reported a communications officer. He's ordering an emergency regroup, but our attacks have split their fleet into isolated segments. Han-suk allowed himself a small smile. The aliens had fallen perfectly into humanity's trap. By appearing weak and primitive, Earth's defenders had lured the Stellar Empire into a false sense of security. Now they were paying the price for their arrogance. Launch second wave, the general commanded. Target their support ships and communication nodes. Don't let them coordinate a response. More hidden bases revealed themselves, each adding their firepower to the overwhelming assault. The alien fleet, designed to fight conventional battles against known enemies, found themselves unable to adapt to humanity's unconventional tactics and unexpected technology level. Sir, the enemy fleet is starting to break formation, Colonel Shin reported. Some ships are attempting to retreat to high orbit. Not today, Han-suk responded firmly. Activate the orbital defense grid. Satellites that had appeared to be simple communication relays suddenly transformed, revealing weapon systems that had been hidden in plain sight. The retreating alien ships found their escape routes cut off by a web of orbital defenses they had dismissed as primitive technology. The battle raged on, but its outcome was already becoming clear. Humanity's hidden strength, combined with the element of surprise, had turned the tables completely. The mighty stellar empire, which had conquered countless worlds, found itself being systematically taken apart by the very primitives they had intended to subjugate. Admiral Roth's flagship is taking heavy damage, reported Colonel Shin. Their main weapons are offline, and their shields are failing. Hyun Suk watched as Earth's forces pressed their advantage. Years of preparation, secret development, and patient waiting had led to this moment. The aliens had never imagined that their simple conquest would turn into such a devastating defeat. "Send word to all commands," the general ordered. "Push forward with everything we have. Show the stellar empire why they should have studied their enemy more carefully before attacking Earth." The counterattack continued, and with each passing minute, more alien ships fell to humanity's hybrid weapons and innovative tactics. The tables had turned completely, and now it was the mighty alien fleet that found itself outmatched and overwhelmed. Captain Oh Min-ji studied the holographic display of the alien fleet's command structure, watching as their once perfect formation began to break apart. From her position in the Psychological Warfare Division's command center, she could see the chaos spreading through enemy ranks as Earth's forces systematically destroyed their communication nodes. "Look at how they're responding," Min-ji pointed out to her team, indicating the erratic movements of alien ships that had lost contact with their command vessels. "They're completely lost without direct orders from above." The psychological warfare team had spent months analyzing intercepted alien communications, building a detailed picture of the stellar empire's rigid hierarchy. What they discovered had shocked them. Despite their advanced technology, the aliens were prisoners of their own inflexible command structure. "Another command ship isolated," reported Lieutenant Park, tracking the ongoing attacks. "Their subordinate vessels are starting to fire at random targets. They don't know what to do without explicit instructions." Min-ji nodded, watching as the carefully coordinated plan unfolded. Earth's forces weren't just attacking the alien fleet. They were systematically dismantling their entire command structure. Each destroyed communication node created more confusion in the enemy ranks. "Intercepted transmission from Admiral Roth," called out one of the communication officers. "He's trying to reorganize his fleet, but half his ships can't receive his orders anymore." The alien admiral's voice crackled through their speakers, filled with growing panic. "All ships, maintain formation. Follow Standard Protocol 7 Beta. Why aren't you responding? This is a direct order." But the alien ships, cut off from their chain of command, could only follow their basic programming. Some continued their last received orders, others fell back to defensive positions, and some simply hung motionless in space, waiting for instructions that would never come. "Their fatal flaw was right there in front of us," Min-ji explained to her team. "They're so dependent on their hierarchy that they never developed any capacity for independent action. Their troops can't adapt or make decisions without explicit orders." Earth's forces pressed their advantage, targeting the remaining command ships with precision strikes. Each lost commander added to the confusion spreading through the alien ranks. Ships that could have easily escaped found themselves paralyzed by indecision, waiting for orders that their protocols demanded. "New development," Lieutenant Park announced. "Some of the alien ships are starting to fire on each other. They can't properly identify friend from foe without central coordination." Min-ji moved to another display, watching as the alien fleet descended further into chaos. The stellar empire's mighty armada, which had conquered countless worlds, was being defeated not just by Earth's weapons, but by its own rigid structure. "Send word to all our attack squadrons," she ordered. "Focus on any ship showing signs of independent action. Those are the most dangerous ones now." The battle continued to unfold across the screens, But it was no longer the organized conflict it had started as. Earth's forces, free to make tactical decisions on their own, adapted quickly to each new situation. The aliens, bound by protocol and unable to receive new orders, could only watch as their advantage slipped away. "Admiral Roth is getting desperate," reported the communications officer. "He's trying to implement emergency protocols, but his ships aren't responding correctly. The chaos is spreading faster than he can control it." Minji allowed herself a small smile. The aliens' greatest strength, their perfect coordination and discipline, had become their greatest weakness. By destroying their ability to communicate, Earth's forces had turned the enemy's own rigid structure against them. "Look at this," Lieutenant Park called out, highlighting a section of the battle. "Some alien ships are trying to surrender, but their protocols don't even include proper surrender procedures. They don't know how to stop fighting." The psychological warfare team continued monitoring the situation, providing real-time analysis to Earth's combat forces. They had discovered that the aliens' technological superiority had led to an overdependence on automated systems and strict protocols. Without their command structure, all that advanced technology was becoming useless. "New transmission from Admiral Roth," announced the communications officer. "He's ordering a full retreat, but only about 20% of his remaining ships are receiving the signal." Minji watched as the alien fleet's formation completely collapsed. Ships that had moved in perfect synchronization now drifted in confusion or flowed in random directions. The mighty stellar empire, which had expected an easy conquest, was being undone by its own inflexibility. "Send our final analysis to High Command," she ordered. "The alien fleet is no longer capable of coordinated action. Victory is within our grasp." As Earth's forces moved in for the final phase of the battle, Minji reflected on the irony of the situation. The aliens had come to conquer what they thought was a primitive world, never realizing that their technological superiority had bred the very weaknesses that would lead to their defeat. Admiral Roth's voice came through one last time, filled with disbelief. "How? How could these primitives understand our weakness when we didn't even see it ourselves?" But Minji and her team knew the answer. Sometimes the greatest strength could become the greatest weakness, and the ability to adapt and think independently was worth more than all the advanced technology in the galaxy. Colonel Bai Junho stood at the helm of the assault carrier, watching as Admiral Roth's massive flagship loomed before them. The once proud vessel of the stellar empire now hung isolated in space, its support ships either destroyed or scattered in chaos. This was humanity's moment to deliver the final blow. "All teams in position," reported Lieutenant Kim through the quantum comm. "Dr. Park's interference systems are active. They can't escape even if they try." Junho checked his tactical display one last time. His assault team had trained for years for this moment, combining human combat techniques with captured alien technology. They were ready to prove that Earth's defenders could match and exceed the Empire's best troops. "Begin the approach," he ordered. "Activate hybrid shields and prepare for boarding action." The assault carrier moved silently through space, its systems cloaked by Dr. Park Mayre's quantum interference technology. On the flagship's bridge, Admiral Roth and his crew remained unaware of the approaching threat until it was too late. "Breach point secured," called out Sergeant Lee as the boarding team cut through the flagship's outer hull. "Their internal defenses are confused by our hybrid technology. They can't get a lock on us." Junho led his team through the alien vessel's corridors, encountering sporadic resistance. The enemy troops, cut off from their command structure, fought without coordination or strategy. Their advanced weapons and armor proved ineffective against Earth's hybrid technology and adaptive tactics. Meanwhile, in Earth's unified command center, Admiral Han Daesung watched the assault unfold. Dr. Park stood beside him, monitoring the quantum interference field that kept the flagship trapped in place. "Their engine core is trying to power it up," she reported, "but our quantum disruption is preventing them from achieving escape velocity. They're not going anywhere." The battle inside the flagship intensified as Jun-Ho's team approached the bridge. Enemy soldiers fell back in disarray, their rigid training useless against humanity's unconventional warfare techniques. Bridge secured, Jun-Ho announced finally. Admiral Roth is in custody. The flagship is ours. Hours later, Admiral Roth stood in Earth's command center, his proud bearing diminished by defeat. Around him, the leaders of Earth's defense forces gathered to witness this historic moment. Admiral Han Dae-sung stepped forward, his voice clear and firm. Admiral Roth, you came to our world believing us to be primitive and weak. You thought your technological superiority guaranteed victory. Today, you learned otherwise. The alien admiral's face showed a mix of confusion and reluctant respect. How? He asked. How did you hide such capabilities from our scans? We didn't hide our capabilities, Dr. Park explained. We showed you exactly what you expected to see. A primitive world. Your own arrogance did the rest. Jun-Ho, still in his combat armor, stood guard as Dae-sung delivered Earth's terms. The Stellar Empire will immediately withdraw all forces from Earth's solar system. You will acknowledge Earth's full sovereignty and our right to defend ourselves by any means necessary. And if we refuse? Roth asked, though his tone suggested he already knew the answer.